The Sepharim of Ezra are also necessarily included in order to consider the initial realization of the famous prophecy set forth in Daniel 9, where reference is made to the additional books of Ezra or Esdras. Although not belonging to the canon, Ezra Shelashi, or 3 Ezra, is made up almost entirely from materials existing in canonical books. Ezra Shelashi, or 3 Ezra, provides a history of the temple from the time of Yoshayahu, or Josiah, down to Nehemiah, or Nehemiah, and was freely quoted by the early fathers and included in Origen's Hexapla. The Sefer Ezra Revi'i, or 4 Ezra, also reckoned as 2 Esdras, is often called the Apocalypse of Ezra. This remarkable work has not been preserved in the original Greek text, but has been found in Latin, Syriac, Arabic in 2 independent versions, Ethiopian, and Armenian translations. The body of the book, the unity of which appears to be unquestionable, is made up of 7 visions, which Ezra is to have seen at Babel, the 30th year after the destruction of Jerusalem at the hands of the people of Babel. Sefer Ezra Revi'i, 4 Ezra, is reckoned among the most beautiful productions of Hebraic literature. Widely known in the early Christian ages and frequently quoted by the fathers, it may be said to have framed the popular belief of the Middle Ages concerning the end times. Also published herein is the missing fragment of Ezra Revi'i. This fragment of 70 verses was not entirely unknown in the West, particularly when, in 1865, Professor Johann Gildmeister discovered that a leaf had been excised from the Codex Saint-Germanensis, a Vulgate manuscript from the Benedictine monastery of Saint-Germain-du-Pré, and the missing leaf created a gap within the verses of the 4th chapter of the text. He concluded that all manuscripts of Ezra Revi'i, 4 Ezra, or 2nd Esdras, that did not contain the missing text must have necessarily relied upon the redaction found within the Codex Saint-Germanensis, reprinting only that text that remained after it had been mutilated, indicating that the leaf had been cut out very early in the volume's history, around 822 AD. Now, Robert L. Bensley published the 70 missing verses from the Latin text from the Codex Colbertinus in 1875. After Bensley's death in 1893, Cambridge published his critical edition of the whole Latin text of Esdras, or 4 Ezra, in 1895, restoring the lost verses. The Stuttgart edition of the Latin Vulgate that would follow this publication would also include this Latin text. Besides the Codex Colbertinus, the excised text was also found in the Codex Ambienensis at Amiens, and several other manuscripts, also including the missing text of Esdras, or 4 Ezra, have come in, including the Syriac, Ethiopic, Arabic, Armenian, and Spanish provenance editions. The presence of these multiple witnesses have confirmed the authenticity of these excised verses, sufficient to allow the restoration of the text herein.